Here we go. Next segment. We were just talking about Cooper Flagg and where he should end up after the draft. I mentioned the Heat, but it seems like Darrell, you got a problem with the Heat culture that I mentioned.
Well, yeah, because it's talk. It's about our heat culture, our culture. How did that culture work out with the Jimmy Butler process, right? We talk about you're in South Beach. You're going to get free agents to have an opportunity to go there. Is it your culture or is it Miami Beach, right? Or is it, South Beach, right? So I think when I hear heat culture, sorry, I got to poke some holes in that, right? If the cultures were so strong, you wouldn't have Jaime Highcomb taking care of his coach's ex-wife, right? If your culture was so strong, Jimmy Butler wouldn't have gone through what he went through over the last year, and it made it such a public thing. I think this talk about culture, a lot of teams talk culture, and I just think that with Pat Riley and the Kiss the Ring, they love talking about that. I'm sorry, I'm just not drinking the culture Kool-Aid, and there's no way Miami's going to have an opportunity to get Cooper Flagg unless they trade the top end players to get the first pick. I just don't
Pelicans weren't supposed to get Zion. They had the worst odds, and they got Zion.
But also, Pelicans are not a destination, right? So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I don't see Cooper Flagg going to Miami. So
my feeling about culture. My feeling about culture is kind of different, I guess, but the same. So career coach. I'm a career coach. I talk about culture all the time, but with culture, I think especially at that level, you have to get people who fit your culture. So no matter how great your culture is, if you get someone who doesn't fit it, they're going to be a culture killer.
Well, I think Jimmy fit the culture.
Your culture, Jimmy Butler, I love Jimmy Buckets. He don't fit nobody's culture because
he's his own entity.
I think it was
in the beginning.
I think it was the best environment for him, especially after what happened in Minnesota and then obviously Philly. They paid Tobias Harris over. I think it was the right. I think it was the right fit for him at the time. And then, obviously it was because of the success they had. There was no ring, but there was
always the right fit for him at the time.
I don't think Minnesota was ever a fit, but
look at Golden State. Look at what's going on with Golden State right now. I mean, look how happy they are right now. But let's see what happens in a year and a half. Let's see what happens in a year and a half.
He always comes in happy. It's like a new girlfriend. I love her to death in the beginning. And then I get tired of it.
Right.
And I'm going on to the next culture.
Right.
I think Jimmy's a culture killer, and I love him to death. That's one of my favorite players in sports. But when he gets tired, he tired.
And he lets everybody know that he's tired.
Everybody know. Yep, I'm not keeping this a secret. Everybody gonna know how I feel. So Miami's culture, I think they have a strong culture, but their culture can't cover up a bad decision.
I'm gonna pull up the lottery for the NBA. Obviously, we are not gonna know the results until we get there. But you guys tell me on a scale of 1 to 10 where you'd want Cooper Flagg to go, and then we'll move on to the playoffs. All right?
Okay.
Just a simple yes or no, and then if we have a disagreement on one, we'll see about it. So first up is Utah because they're first by 1 game. So Utah.
Maybe.
I think that's a good spot for him.
Okay. Washington. I'm saying no.
No, that's not a good spot for nobody.
No. I'm saying yes to Utah. I'll say no to Washington. Charlotte, I'm going to say yes.
No.
I would say no. Because Brandon Miller plays his position.
You don't think Cooper could play the 4 if he gets more weight?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right.
I mean, maybe.
I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say yes on Charlotte.
But I think him and Brandon Miller are similar players.
Okay. New Orleans, I'm going to say no.
No.
Philadelphia.
Yes.
No.
Yep. Okay.
Because Paul George. Because they'll get rid of Paul George.
They're going to get rid of Paul George.
If Cooper Flagg comes there, Paul George would not be in Philadelphia.
Yeah. Ramon, why'd you say no?
I just don't see them doing right things
with Cooper
as an organization.
Okay.
It's just some places like, dude, like you could draft Jesus Christ and somehow send him to hell.
Yeah. At 6 we have Brooklyn. I'm saying no.
It's New York, man. Of course. Everybody loves the bright lights, even though the New Jersey Nets haven't done anything.
So is that a yes?
I'll say yeah. I'll say yes. Okay. It's New York.
I'm
going to say yes.
I'm saying no because it's Brooklyn. They can't get nothing right. They got Katie and Kyrie wrong. I'm saying no. I'm saying no. That wasn't probably more Brooklyn's fault. That was probably more the players' fault. But anyways, Toronto.
Possibly.
Okay.
He's from Wisconsin, right? Isn't he from is he from Wisconsin or northern
I don't know.
Pennsylvania?
I think it's
I think
Pennsylvania.
he's from up north somewhere, I think. So yeah. Maine. He's from Maine. That's where
Yeah,
he's
he's
from
from
Maine.
Maine.
So
Yeah,
yeah, Toronto, yeah, I can see that.
I could see
I'm gonna
Toronto
say
working.
I'm gonna say yes, with the exception of if Drake started coming to all the Toronto games, it'll mess up.
Okay, so Darrell, I
Right.
got a question for you though, because you said no to who'd you say no to that had you said no to Charlotte.
Wizards in Charlotte.
You said no to Charlotte, and they've got
Yeah,
Brandon Miller. Toronto has Brandon Ingram.
yeah, but guess what though, right? Brandon Ingram isn't an up and coming player. We know
That's
who
fair.
Brandon
Okay,
Ingram is.
okay, that's good. Yeah, and I do like Brandon Miller a
Yeah,
lot. So I
yeah,
And Toronto has won
yeah,
yeah, that's a good point.
yeah.
So the
with
next
a couple of they won with Vince Carter. You know, they won with
Well, you're
Clark.
not talking title. You're talking about deep runs, right? You're talking about
yeah.
deep
Yeah,
runs.
deep
Okay, gotcha.
runs.
Okay,
Deep runs.
okay, makes
If
So
sense.
it,
so
Okay,
go
they
ahead.
got an organization who knows how to win a little bit.
Yeah.
yeah.
If this next team gets him, the league is rigged. But
San Antonio.
San
The
Antonio,
Spurs. Yeah.
San
Absolutely.
Antonio.
I've said, listen, when
It would be a
Wemby
great fit, but
listen, when
man,
Wemby got sat down, and then my man came from Sacramento and they sat him down, and that just tells me that they're loading up. They're loading
Yeah.
up to try to get him. And again, it wouldn't
We about
surprise
to
me if he gets there.
yeah,
But also, if he does get there, a lot of side eyes are going to be looking at the NBA as they
yeah.
already are anyway.
I well wishes to Wemby. That sucks. That definitely
Yeah,
sucks. They were doing the Spurs were doing pretty well. Obviously, that
yeah.
record's taking a dip, but that definitely sucks. Next up is Portland. I'm gonna say
Man,
yes.
I like Chauncey Billups, man.
Yes.
I like Chauncey Billups as a coach, man. I like what he's doing there in Portland. They don't have an um over the top talented team right now, but I think with that young cat coming in there with Scoot Henderson,
Yeah.
coming along on his own, I could see that working. I
Klingen.
could see that working.
Klingen's
Yeah,
not doing too bad.
yeah,
He's
yeah,
doing
not
all
bad,
right.
not bad at all, not bad at all, not bad at all.
Ramon, what you yes, no?
I'm gonna say yes
Okay. Okay.
because
I
I
have no
like
problem with
Chauncey.
Portland. They're just there, so I'll say yes.
Yeah, yeah,
You're right. They're just there.
There.
yeah, yeah.
Chicago. I'm saying
No, hell
yes.
no.
Man,
Yes.
I would say this:
Saying
Chicago's got a
yes.
really, really good young team. When they got rid of Levine, and my guy that went to Sacramento,
DeRozan.
and then what's his name that went to Oklahoma City,
Caruso.
Caruso. I think it allowed those young guys to flourish, and Kobe White is a budding superstar coming into his own. So yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing that.
We just discussed this one. Miami. I'll say yes. I assume both of you are saying no.
Well, no, I think if he got there,
Oh.
he would
Okay.
do well.
Okay.
But I just don't think it's a real possibility.
So we've got two teams that don't own their pick. So this pick would be Phoenix's pick, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's Houston.
And Philly, right?
But Houston.
Right. Well, Philly may not own theirs as well, depending on if it's a top six or not.
Okay. So we'll move on to it's supposed to be Sacramento's pick, but it would be Atlanta's. So the Hawks.
No.
Hey, I say
saying
Atlanta
no.
is a place. Atlanta is the place where careers go to die, man.
Yep.
I'm sorry. It's just sorry.
And then last but not least is Dallas.
Man, that'd be interesting. He with Kyrie next year coming off the injury. Man, that'd be it'd be a start because you lose Luka and everybody's still up in arms about that. So he'd be a great fit there in Dallas. They would gravitate to him.
Ramon, I cut you off about Atlanta.
They would dominate. Dallas would. Talking about Kyrie, Cooper, and the eyebrow. Come on, man.
That'd be pretty good. That'd be pretty good.
That'd be a dynamic team.
All right.
Yeah.
So next up, we've got 2 more weeks left in the NBA season, right, Ramon? 2? I think it's a little more than that.
Yeah,
but
a little over 2.
So
the play-in starts on the 15th of April.
So looking at the East, we'll start with the East since we live in Indiana, all three of us. You got the Cavs at 59-15, Celtics at 55-19, and then you've got the Knicks 46-27, the Pacers 43-31, the Pistons 42-32, and then the Bucks at 40 and 33, and then after that you've got the Magic at 7th, the Hawks at 8th, the Bulls at 9th, and the Heat at 10.
I think the only movement we're looking at is 3 through 6 potentially, right? Potentially, because I think 1 and 2 is locked in, and 7 through 10 are locked in. Here's your challenge, right? So with Milwaukee having Dame out, right, they continue to fall, and they're going to continue to fall.
Yep.
Now Detroit, they're a young team, and they're getting stronger. And then, you look at the records here, not the records and their schedules. Right now, the Pacers got the third weakest schedule the last 9 games of the season, right?
Yeah, they got Detroit, OKC out of the way now. So they're
Detroit's got Cleveland, and they've got Milwaukee twice coming up. Of course, Milwaukee's got Detroit, but I think that with the schedule, the way it's play out, I think it's going to settle in where it is right now. I think, Pacers will be 4. I think Detroit will be 5, and I believe that Milwaukee will be 6. I think will it be maybe a little bit of movement? Possibly, but if I'm a betting man, and I say as you look at the standings right now, that's what it's going to be. So you look at a Pacers Detroit matchup in a 4-5 with the Pacers having home court advantage. Pacers have handled Detroit pretty well this year. Detroit's a nice team, but they don't have an answer for Pascal Siakam in the post with his wiry body. I think the Pacers win 4 games to 2 against Detroit, and regardless of his home court advantage or not for Detroit or Pacers. When watching those games in person, they're highly contested games, but I just don't think they've got an answer for Pascal Siakam, even though Cade Cunningham has really shocked the heck out of me this year. This dude he's hit a springboard this year. Give him nothing but love. He'll probably wind up being most improved player.
I think that Cott is right. He's a homer.
I'm not a homer. Come on.
I had to throw that in there, man. But nah, you hit it.
Man, I'm a homer. We're playing Boston in the finals again. I'm gonna go full on confident, and I'm gonna run it down. I don't buy Cleveland. I don't buy New York. They can't beat a team over 500. I do love Detroit, but they're not doing nothing. The Bucks, Dame is injured. The only other team other than Boston that scares me is Orlando. And Darrell, the reason I say that is because every time we play Orlando, we usually struggle against Orlando. In the games that I've watched this year and even a little bit of last year, we struggled bad against Orlando.
I give you that, but if you look at the seeding, that's not even in question.
Yeah, I know.
Because you're talking right.
Yeah.
Because at the 4-5 team, the winner that's gonna potentially play the number 1 seed, right?
Yeah.
So which would be Cleveland. And for me, I wouldn't have a problem with the Pacers playing Cleveland next. I don't want to see how the Pacers see Boston. I don't like the matchup. Yes, we beat them before.
That's a bad matchup.
I don't like the matchup, man. I like where it sits now with the Pacers and the Pistons. And in my thought, Pacers beating the Pistons and then going to Cleveland. Because Cleveland, wow, they've got a great record. Stupendous record. Let's just see what happens because their edge is in the backcourt, right?
Yeah.
Let's see what happens. Let's put their backcourt against our backcourt.
I hope we get that. I hope for the Pacers, you're gonna have Mathurin this time around, and I hope that is as big of a difference as we were saying it could have been last year. I truly hope so. I really hope this is his breakout series, hopefully, but we'll see.
They're going to need that depth. They're going to need that depth because the Pacers don't have a great player. The Pacers got a bunch of very good players, right? Pascal Siakam, very, very good player. Halliburton, very, very good player, right? Ben Mathurin, up and coming young player, right? You've got, Nembhard, who's a strong defender, but he was a 2nd-round pick and he's coming in his own as well. They just don't have that great guy to take them over the top, in my opinion, as a Pacers fan right now.
It's gonna fall on Halliburton to shoot the ball. And not even shoot the ball. I don't even know what I'm saying there. He's got to shoot. Whether he's being efficient or not, he has to shoot the ball. When he does not shoot the ball, this team plays bad. It doesn't matter. Obviously, him making it amps his team
being
up
aggressive,
more, but yeah,
him being aggressive. I got you.
He's got to be aggressive because there was times in the New York series last year where he wouldn't shoot the ball, or even the in-season tournament last year against the Lakers, he wouldn't shoot the ball. He's got to shoot the ball, and he's got to be, because in my opinion, I think he can be the guy that gets them over the top because of just what he does, assist to turnover ratio. What he does there is incredible. Not a
He
lot
doesn't
of point
make
guards
bad
can do
plays.
it.
He doesn't make bad plays, right? He doesn't put you in bad positions, right? Which means you value those possessions, especially in the playoffs. So you make a decent point there, but the difference for him is what is he going to do in defensive end? When they
That's what
played
I was
against the
gonna
Lakers
say.
on Wednesday night, they hunted him from the first start of the tip off, right? And he has, granted, he's not going to be Gary Payton, but he's got to get stronger because they put him in the post and they go to work on him and they treat him like a $2 you know what down in the post. He's got to be better at that because the help defense isn't going to get there fast enough and someone's going to be wide open for a shot.
Man, you look at him, and I like Hallie. All right. But if he's not aggressive, he's not being a leader,
Yeah.
he's not being assertive offensively, he's a liability on defense. So
Yeah.
now you got a double negative.
Yeah.
All right. So you better be really good offensively and really efficient because you're going to be a negative on the defensive end of the ball. But
They're going to hunt
him.
him. They're going to hunt him
and
for
that's
sure.
his biggest problem.
Yeah.
Like you can't go to sleep on this side of the court because you're already sleepwalking on the other side of the court.
Yeah. I think Detroit could be scary just for the simple. I think that's the biggest thing. I think Detroit's scarier in the sense of they could definitely shock Indiana just because we know how Halliburton can be sometimes without being aggressive and it brings the whole team down. I think Detroit could really surprise us and maybe make this a 7-game series. And I know, as a Pacers fan, Pacers Pistons, that's a rivalry.
Yeah,
right there.
I look forward to it anyway. Look forward to it anyway, right? And I would have no problem if it's a 7-game series. I just believe that over the time, I think the Pacers will, and their experience and their depth of quality depth, would win out.
So let's go to the West. Is there any other pointers that we want to go on about the East just real quick?
No, I think it was, for me, I think it was good. I think we hit some pretty good points.
Okay, so let's move over to the Western Conference. You've got the Thunder obviously ahead of everybody else at 62-12. You've got the Rockets at 48-26. They've won 10 of their last 11 games. That stat's probably changed, but that was the last thing I saw. Nuggets at 47-28. The Lakers at 45-29. The Grizzlies at 44-30. We definitely got to talk about the Grizzlies. Clippers at 42-31. And then after that, you've got the Warriors, Timberwolves, Mavericks, and Kings. Those are the teams that would be in the play-in. And then you've got the Suns looking out, trying to get in. And then you've got the Blazers and the Spurs. They're not too far behind, and they may make a run, but we'll see what happens there. But I want to start. With the Lakers because we never talked about Luka. Me and Ramon is a divorced Lakers fan, or trying to get the papers filed, but I want to try to draw him back in for a moment because I think, and I was talking to my friends about it in our group chat, and I said, obviously not having a center is going to be an issue. The Mark Williams trade not going through sucks, but I think for us...
Wait a minute. Whoa. They got Mr. Lynn over there. They got Lynn.
Well, okay.
Alex Lynn, what are you talking about?
So I think, but
where's my log off button at, man? He talking crazy.
I was saying... I still think this team can make a deep run. And I think the big thing, and I was talking about it in the group chat, and with the way the seeding is played up, we would play Memphis, and then we would play Oklahoma City. And honestly, that's the best scenario because we don't want to play Sengun, and we don't want to play Jokic, and that's just because we don't have a center. Obviously, it's still interesting matchups wherever way it goes, but I think we'd be better off not playing one of those top centers in the league. And I think JJ Redick's done a good job with the defensive setups and, utilizing help defense when needed because obviously not having a center is a struggle. But with Vanderbilt out on the floor because he's been able to stay healthy through this half of the season since he's gotten back, our defensive rating has gone up since AD has been traded, which no one thought would happen. I think we're still in a good spot. Obviously, when we get to the playoffs, things can be totally different, but I am still confident that this team can make a deep run without a center.
Well, they potentially can, but to your point, they've got Memphis in the first round as it stands right now in the 4-5 matchup. And then, if they get back past Memphis, they've got the Thunder. We can talk all day about the Thunder and not being a big team, but they're athletic and they're deep.
And the Thunder still scare me the most. They scare me the most.
And that's something that the Lakers are not.
Yep.
Right. That's so people are saying, "Oh, I want to, keep them away from Denver." I would rather them play Denver if I'm a Laker
That's a
fan
good
than
point.
playing
Yeah.
than playing Thunder, because the Thunder, they've got the best player in the West, not named Jokic right now, and as he gets to the basket, he can have his way. If you saw that game last night, that team is geared towards him and making him, in a really positive position.
Jokic,
So
the
no,
Nuggets.
I'm talking about Shea. I'm talking about
Oh,
Oklahoma
okay,
City.
okay, okay.
And what I'm saying is they've got the depth, they got the athleticism, and they got a lot of guys they can throw at Luka and at Braun because of that fact. Yeah, they don't have a 7'2", 260-pound guy, but they don't need one,
Yeah.
right? Because they've got 10 guys that they play every night as well too.
Ramon, what are you
Man,
thinking?
as I look at all the teams that could possibly be in the playoffs on the West, I just think the Lakers are in trouble, no matter which way they go.
Okay,
Luke,
so I disagree.
Luke is hold on. Luke is terrible defensively. Terrible. They have no rim protector. And if we're honest, LeBron's not very good defensively right now either.
Let the
So
record show that
now in the
Ramon said
seven,
that, not me.
now in the
But
seven
but
game,
he's right.
if you look at the film, if you look at the film, not the highlights, the film or the game, he doesn't help. He doesn't come on help side quick. He doesn't rotate quick. He's a liability also. People are just scared to say it in the media, but I'm not. He's a problem. Luke is a bigger problem. The rim protector is a big problem.
Yep.
They got a lot of problems defensively. And in a 7-game series, people
Things will
just
change.
out.
Yeah. This isn't the honeymoon period anymore.
No,
The
I
playoffs,
agree.
the
Yeah,
honeymoon's
I
over
agree.
with, right?
I agree.
So that will be an interesting point to see what happens, right? Because the honeymoon period is kind of gone now. Now the dust has settled. Now let's see what happens when the rotations are 7 and eight players, and you're looking at that weakness and you're attacking it every time down the court.
And
Whatever it may be.
unless they decide to start Bronny, no, I'm just joking, y'all.
Man, you gonna get shot, man.
I still think we're in a good spot, and I think Denver. I think you make a good point against Denver, but every time I thought we had Denver, some role player shows up and just makes threes. So I don't want to see.
But Denver was better. Denver was better those 2 years, though, man. They were much better.
But
they've come
still,
back to the pack.
I'm done. I'm done. That's like me thinking the Cowboys were going to beat the Niners. Like, it never happened. I'm not going to take that same thought of thinking with Denver. Let's just stay away from Denver. I'm over Denver.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough.
Last thing about the Lakers.
Go ahead.
I'm an ex-Laker trying to divorce.
No, you're back in, Ramon. You're back in. I'm gonna get you a jersey. I'm gonna get you a jersey.
In the words of Shannon Sharp, can you feel my pain? I don't care who's to blame. You must be on cocaine. Lakers gonna lose in 5.
No. You know what he said? He said SGA. He said SGA, PGA, USA. Don't matter. Lakers in 5.
Okay.
That's what I'm going.
We'll find out. We'll find out.
Not against the Thunder. It's not gonna be Lakers at 5 over the Thunder. That's gonna be tough. But I think we'll beat the Grizzlies. But speaking of the Grizzlies, I want to talk about the Grizzlies and the Rockets, because I think those are the two most interesting teams. The Rockets are very young. They're playing great basketball. The Grizzlies just fired their head coach, and it was the reason that I said in the group chat when I was talking to some friends. I said, I think it's because, and it's been a stat for the last 2-3 years, the Grizzlies are better without Ja. And that's been just shown statistically and stuff like that. The Grizzlies have been better without Ja. And then another report came out that said Ja was frustrated with the offensive scheme that Taylor Jenkins was running. This is still such a weird move to me that the Grizzlies would do that. And then on the other hand,
and he's a good coach too, man. He's a good coach, and I was shocked. So when I saw that, the first thing I said was, clearly this is behind the scenes stuff. This isn't on the court. So something happened to create a discord to the point of where you fire a really, really good young coach. Someone's going to scoop him up. But bigger than that, though, how long has this been going on, and who's allowed it to happen this long until you get to a point where you fire your coach 9 games before the end of the regular season?
Yeah, I don't know. I think Ja was definitely a main reason, because I mean, it's been shown in the stats they are better without Ja. I mean, the offense runs better without him. So I think that was the deciding factor, whether it was management being like, okay, we need someone that can utilize our star player, or it was Ja being like, okay, he was frustrated with the system. And then obviously seeing stuff on Twitter, people were saying, Ja was coming in like he didn't want to be there some days because he just knew the system wasn't built around him. So whatever the situation may be, because there's not a pinpoint reason, I still think it's odd. I still think it's very odd. I don't think they were going to beat the Lakers anyways. I don't, but I still think to fire him at this moment in time, I think that's a really rough call. And then I don't believe in them. And then on the other side, I think Houston's really good, but I think they're just too young.
Yeah, they got a good coach. They got another good coach there, man.
Yeah, that's true.
Udoka is a really, really good coach, and he knows what he's doing. So, in the playoffs, man, things are different, man. You're talking shorter rotations. You scout these guys tighter and tighter, and you get a matchup that goes in your favor. You milk it until you can't anymore. So, and then what happens when help comes? Guess what? Someone's open for a clean look.
For a three. Ramon, what's your thoughts on Houston and Memphis?
What Memphis showed us was this, that professional sports are entertainment first, sports second.
NBA.
We need and the organizations who decide to make it a sport first always win. Yep. Memphis is like, we play better without Ja, but we make more money in marketing with Ja. So you got to know, bro. Because I'm trying to be a gazillionaire.
I still think Ja's gone this offseason, though. I think they trade Ja. I think Ja's going to want out. I don't think there's no stop. I don't think there's stop.
I don't think they trade Ja, but if Ja puts up enough argument, fuss, and be destructive, then they get rid of him.
I think the
coach being gone is their way of saying, listen, we want you to stay. I think they picked Ja over the coach. And that doesn't mean that he's going to say, okay, fair enough, you got rid of coach, I'll stay. Because it matters who's the next coach that comes into play, right? So who on the landscape is there? I mean, I don't know off the top of my head, but, it's going to probably be somebody's top level assistant, right?
I think Ja's gone. I don't think there's – I don't think there's repairing the situation. Maybe it does get fixed, but I don't see Ja getting done. We got about 10 minutes left in the meeting. Okay.
So you want to hit the NFL?
We'll do another segment for the NFL. Okay. But I was gonna ask who's the dark horse in the West, and then if you got any final statements on
we do it that way. Okay.
But who's the dark horse in the West? For me, I am gonna say Golden State, because you've got Jimmy can have the ball, Steph on the off ball. Obviously, after we just talked about Jimmy's situation, stuff like that, I think that's going to be very dangerous, especially who are they playing against if it were to happen today? They would play Houston, so I think that would be fun.
Clippers are playing. I thought you said okay. You said the Nuggets and Clippers, and then we've got the Rockets and Warriors.
I think Golden State's the dark horse for sure. I
like Golden State. Yeah, as long as they can stay away from LA and Denver somehow.
Yeah. It may be an opportunity. It depends, because that last little shakeup in the West is a little bit more tedious than it is in the East. So it could be something that works out for them. But for me, this isn't a dark horse. I like the Thunder. I've seen them in person. I saw them last night. Probably watched more Thunder than any other team, probably in the NBA, other than the Pacers. And I'm telling you, I like what the Thunder are about, man. They squat on defense. They squat on defense, man. And they go at you, and they got a superstar player. And in the NBA, you got to have that superstar player. And believe me, look at the calls that Shea gets. He's a superstar player. You breathe on that dude, and it's a foul.
That's what I was going to ask, because everyone on Twitter is talking about, Shea's a free throw merchant. And to me, I was like, I think that's just a media thing. But
no? I've seen him in person. Yeah, he's a free throw merchant. He's a star. And let's call it like it is. You can have a bunch of good players, very good players, but you got a star. That's that difference, man.
And he's a star. He knows he's a star. He's highly aggressive.
Yeah, very aggressive.
He's gonna make you blow the whistle. He's like, look, I'm gonna put you in a pickle. You gonna blow it, or you gonna swallow the whistle? What you gonna do?
Yeah.
And if you don't blow the whistle, then you're gonna have some problems with your boss.
Yeah.
Ramon,
because I'm making some plays. Yeah.
Ramon, who's your dark horse?
I don't know if anybody, as I look at the West, man, I don't know if anybody's truly a dark horse, man. Because with the
I don't think that about the East. I think the West there is. I think it's Golden State for sure.
I mean, once you added Jimmy
How with
Butler,
Jimmy and Steph? How you gonna call him a dark horse, man?
exactly. You got
Well,
man.
I'm just going based off where they're seated, not based off like the team. I'm just going off where they're seated.
Where they're seated now wouldn't be where they were seated if Jimmy was there all year.
Well,
exactly.
yeah, but
you're never a dark horse.
They'd be like a three. They'd be like a 2, 3, or 4 seed.
In the media and everywhere else, I don't think anyone's thinking Golden State's a contender. So I think in that context too, I think they are a dark horse because no one's really talking about them getting that far.
That's because they stupid.
Well, yes, the media, the NBA media, which that's going to be my rant, is the NBA media. But
you got 2 Hall of Famers. You're never a dark horse.
Yeah,
good point.
You got 2 Hall of Famers.
Yeah,
at least.
And don't forget the Saginaw Strangler. I know they call him a Hall of Famer, but he's a perfect fit for what Golden State does. Listen, the dude was born on third base when he got to Golden State. Okay, and he is taking full advantage of every opportunity. So God bless him, man. But he's taking advantage of it for sure.
He's one of those guys that like I have a certain set of skills. And thank you for putting me in a situation where these few skills
I can use them
can shine.
Exactly.
Yeah. Any final thoughts before we move on to the NFL draft? Any final thoughts?
I can't believe my man Bron LaTuan James did my man the eyebrow, the unibrow like that. He knew.
Yeah, he's stuck in. I want to hear what you say about that, Isaiah, because you're a Lakers fan. What do you think? Do I think he knew? Bron said he had no idea. Now information has come out that he did have an idea. What are your thoughts on Bron and his legitimacy when he's in front of a mic?
He's always lied, but I mean, a lot of people lie. I mean, a lot of celebrities lie.
We said Bron. We're not talking a lot of people. We'll stick to the subject at hand here, because as soon as Bron does something well, everybody sees it. So the man sat there and said, "I knew nothing about it." What are your thoughts on that?
If he does something bad, everybody sees it. I mean, it's LeBron. I mean, did he know?
Lord have mercy.
Did he know? He probably knew, but
he probably knew, or he knew.
I'm gonna say he probably knew. I can't say for sure that he knew, because it came out that he didn't know at first. So I don't know. I mean,
he said he didn't know at first. That's like
he said he didn't know.
That's like a dude saying I didn't cheat.
Okay, but the deal was on the table for what did they say? 4 days. The Mavericks let the Lakers think on this for 4 days. So in my mind, he probably knew at some point. If you want to, flat out, yes, he probably knew. There we go.
That's all I'm asking, man.
Yes, he probably
Why
knew.
is it so hard for Bron fans to just give you a yes or no answer?
Whoa. I can give you plenty of yes or no answers.
I'm just asking for a simple one. Did he
choke in the 2011 finals? Yes. There you go. There's another simple one.
They be so Ralph Tresvant when it come to that dude, man.
Man, I tell you, we're just asking us yes or no, and you just going on, well, maybe he knew. And the sun shines over here, it's cloudy over here. I mean, come on, man.
If he didn't know, if they traded and didn't run it by him, he would have been like, I'm going to sit out the next month. I got an ingrown toenail.
Speaking of that now, since we're on there, right, and this isn't a troll, I want us to really to still talk good topics, but when he was on the McAfee show, McAfee brought up the fact that he flops a lot. And I watched it 2 different times. He never acknowledged that he flopped. What he said, he went in and he said, well, players that played on other teams came to my team and said, they didn't realize how you don't get the calls. He never even owned it. And there's collage after collage of him faking like he was touched. What are your thoughts on that, Isaiah? I mean, the man said he pivoted off of it really nice and smooth, never admitted that he flops, but said, well, players come to my team and say, man, you really don't get the calls. What are your thoughts on that with regard? What we see is what we see. We got video highlights. We can see it all. Slow motion. What are your thoughts?
Other players do it too. I say it, and I've said it to my stepdad too. I'm like, if you're gonna get
the question is about Bron, man. We're not talking about the league. We're talking about the Pat McAfee interview, and you taking about. Come on, let's stick to the task. The Pat McAfee interview. What are your thoughts?
That's like me sitting in high school, and a parent come in, and we got a problem with their kid. They were like, well, Johnny did it.
Okay. I
We
mean,
talking about your kid.
okay, to me, I thought he acknowledged it by bringing that up, but that's just me, though.
He
That's just
didn't.
me.
No, he didn't. No, he said
What? Okay,
players that
what did
come to
you?
my team say I don't get called. He didn't acknowledge it. He
What?
didn't acknowledge anything.
What did you?
You sent me the link.
What did you want him to say?
Yes, I flopped. Tell the truth.
Oh my
That's
god!
what I want.
Yeah, he's not gonna say that.
Okay. Well, that's why we're gonna line him up then.
What did you think
Because
about?
again,
Okay, we've only got 1 minute left in this little meeting. We can come back to it at the end when we do our
we're
rants.
not gonna belabor the point. Listen,
No, we're
I
gonna
think
come
the
back
point's been
now.
made.
Now we gotta come
I
back.
think the point's been made. You're not gonna own it, man. It's okay. You're not gonna own it. It's okay. It's hey, Bron fans don't. I mean, and believe me and Ramon know that.
You know what? Stephen A's doing more crying right now than anybody else, so it's okay.
Oh my gosh, man!
Up next, we've got the NFL draft segment. I've got a
That's
lot
what we'll
to
hit
talk
on.
about, so we will.
Okay.
We're gonna do that one next.